Hello, gorgeous humans, and welcome to the Tiny Talks podcast. This is the podcast where we take big thoughts and make them a tiny bit more manageable, one tiny talk at a time. I'm your host, Samantha Gerritsen, and today I have Myles on the podcast with me.
Hi, guys.
Which is very cool. This is our first non-Nayland podcast guest.
I feel incredibly honoured.
Yeah, it's quite fun. I'm very excited for this episode. The theme of this episode is release. So how we can release emotions and ideas and thoughts that tend to be a bit overwhelming. So, we're going to start off with our highlight of the week. Would you like to start with what your highlight of the week is?
Yes, I'd love to. So, my highlight of the week would probably be yesterday when myself and 5 other mates went to Lake Rotoiti, and we walked from the Mount Robert car park to Whiskey Falls, which was a very, very fun trip, but my legs are very sore this morning. I pulled something in my calf and I've been walking like a pirate. Everyone's been calling me a pirate all morning. It isn't great, but it was worth it. It was a good walk.
That's not ideal, but that sounds very nice. I think, what's my highlight of the week? My highlight of the week is probably lying in bed. I've watched like 6 movies since the holidays started, which has been quite ideal. I was talking to a mum and dad the other day, and I was like, I understand why people don't do anything.
It's
like,
so good. It's so
I'm
good,
so
man.
busy all the time, and I was saying, like, it actually makes sense why people just, like, don't do any extracurriculars and stuff, because it's quite nice.
Yeah, but then when you do stuff all the time, I personally find it's hard to not do anything.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I should be doing something, but I have nothing to do. So
Yeah.
I've like, something's not right here.
Yeah, and so, like, I get a break, and I'm, like, finally, like, I haven't had a break in, like, months, and now I'm, like, realizing how exhausted I actually am, because it's, like, all caught up all at once.
Yeah, man.
So, love the movies, don't love the exhaustion so much. Okay, so this episode is about release, as I said earlier, and the quote of the week this week is, "Feel the feeling, but don't become the emotion. Witness it, allow it, release it." Literally has the theme of the podcast this week in the quote. So that's quite fun. We're going to refer back to that as the episode goes on, as we normally do. So we're going to start on our first topic of the episode, which is performing arts. So we've discussed performing arts. I've discussed performing arts in previous episodes with Tizzy in particular. You should go watch that episode if you haven't. And how the performing arts is a great way to target expressing emotions and releasing them. So how do each of the following, you can break them down as you want, impact your everyday life and well-being? So you mainly do music and drama, so you just want to talk about those a bit?
Yeah, sure. Well, let's start with music first of all. When it all sort of gets a lot, with schoolwork and all that sort of thing, a great way to sort of release all of that sort of stress and just sort of give myself a nice little brain break. I just go and play my guitar. And after about maybe half an hour of just fiddling around or just playing songs, I'm like, I've got a bit of the motivation to do something. Not quite all of it, but enough where I'm like, okay, I should go and do it now.
Music's a great way. Like, I mean, as someone who, I don't actually play an instrument, I sing, but as someone who loves music and listening to music and who had, like, over 200,000 listening minutes last year, music is such a great way at, like, making you feel connected to something, whether it's, like, if you were playing it or singing it or whatever, or if you're listening to it, like, it's a way to focus on something else.
Yes, definitely.
And it's a bit of a distraction.
And also, me working, I cannot do work at all without listening to music. It's just become a thing now. It's like, if I'm at school and my AirPods are dead, it's like the end of the world. I know. Man. It is the end of the world.
Or like if I lose them, like I like noise cancelling, but like if I don't have, I will deal with one AirPod if it means I get to listen to music. One AirPod is better than nothing. Yeah. I can't listen to like music with lyrics when I'm studying because like I will probably go and end up having an impromptu concert in the middle of my room. But like putting on lo-fi or something with no music, with no vocals or anything is quite a good way. Like music is just like so great at that, and there's so many different types. Like I'm the sort of person who has like a Spotify playlist for every single emotion and feeling and situation.
Wow, okay.
And so I can just like choose which one I need in which moment, and like, you know, or has a certain vibe and like uplifts me, or matches the level that I'm sitting at, which is quite cool.
Yeah, I just have a like songs and a sad one, I think. That's all.
That's like, I think my favorite playlist is Loving Living Life. And that's sort of another thing with music. Like, I think with mental health in particular, like, we tend to listen to songs that just reflect how we're feeling in the moment. But one change that I made, which really helped my mental health, was listening to happy music rather than sad music all the time. Because music is great in that it helps you like understand your emotions, and when you're feeling sad, listening to sad music will help you sit in that and feel it, which is important, like as we mentioned in the quote, that you need to witness and allow emotions to happen. But like just sitting in sadness all the time is no fun. So like making a playlist with a whole lot of happy songs that you'd love is a great way to just like boost your mood. Like, and I think that's the main thing that I find talking to people. I'm like, when you're sad, do you just listen to depressing music? Because like I love a good depressing song when I'm feeling sad. It's great. It's amazing. But also like having an upbeat playlist to like not let yourself wallow in your sadness all the time is great. Top tip from Sam.
Yes, I will have to do that.
It's a great idea. I very much recommend.
Noted.
Are you happy on the topic of music?
I think so.
Do you want to move on to drama now?
Drama.
Talking a bit about how that's a bit of a release.
Yeah. I suppose it's just focusing all your energy into being, I suppose, somebody else in a way. Whereas, like, you know, you've got all this workload and it's stressful and just like, oh, that's you. But then I don't know if you're getting this or not, and then there's somebody, you become somebody else, I suppose, and you know you have their issues and their problems, and you know they sort of lean yourself away from that. It's a nice break from your stuff, I suppose. That's how I see it. But that makes sense. And like dance and drama, those two are sort of more of a way to, like, music does, but it's more of a way to speak how you're feeling without like actually having to, like, you can do it physically. Yes.
And music is good for getting the thoughts out of your brain and into a song, but there's something about drama and dance and being able to get those ideas out physically, which is quite therapeutic as well. And
it's a lot more effective to sort of get your point across as well. With the whole physical aspect. Yeah,
and I mean, because I'm doing scholarship drama in UR this year as well, and my piece is like all about beauty standards, and so it's not necessarily that I'm taking on a new character, but it's giving me a way to, you know, shape ideas that I have and bring them out in a different way to understand them more and fit them together with other ideas.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what's my scholarship drama about? Mine is sort of about and I suppose an ableism piece, because, you know, whenever I go out in public with my sister, and she's got Down syndrome, there's always going to be some old person or some child that's staring at her, and it just really annoys me. And it's like, what goes on in their heads, you know? Like, why is it just so not normal for them? Or just like, why is it so difficult for them to accept that you know, these sorts of people exist and you know, are very, very successful with life.
Absolutely. And like being able to give yourself a different outlet for these ideas, like it's amazing being able to talk to people just like face to face, but being able to actually show them how you're feeling is just like another level. Because talking, you can only do so much, but being able to physically show people like how that actually feels is really cool as well, which is why I personally love dance so much, because like, you know, there's so many different ways that you can show and express ideas and feelings.
Oh yeah, definitely. I took dance in year 10 and that's it for me. That was
fair enough.
No,
not everyone's cup of tea.
No, I didn't get the whole choreography. It was like, How does this mean to... Okay.
NCA choreography is like so weird as well though. Like you have to, it's like you can't just dance. Every movement that you do has to have meaning, and it's so annoying. But that's okay. That's okay. We let it go. But another thing is, I find that like drama pieces, when you have like freedom over them, tend to be really depressing. My devising piece this year is actually quite funny, but my devising piece last year and my scholarship devising piece this year are both really, really depressing.
Yeah, I think it's... Yeah, well, I suppose it's easier to focus on more depressing topics because there's a lot more to unpack, and there's a lot more to, show for the grade and all that.
Yeah.
But,
all for the grades.
Yeah, all for the grade. Yeah, no, I haven't really done much devising, to be honest. I've kind of steered away from it. We had a really bad experience in year 11, and I'm like...
Fair enough. Devising is not my favourite, but that's okay. Yeah. Cool. Are you happy with that?
Yeah. Yeah, cool. No, that's cool. Yep.
Our next topic is on exercise, which is something we haven't covered on the podcast before. So...
Exciting.
We're gonna... Do you have anything you want to, like, start off this with, or any ideas around exercise and mental health?
All of my years throughout school, I've always had one subject that I've taken that's sort of like a physical education or like a exercise subject. Like the last 2 years, it's been outdoor education, and this year I dropped outdoor education because it conflicts with. I found the last 2 years it really conflicted with a lot of drama stuff, and I couldn't do like Shirley and Shakespeare, or I couldn't do.
That's rough.
Or like when we'd be away would be the day that an assessment was meant to be due. And, asking for extensions and annoying teachers isn't really great. But I dropped that and just have PE, which is great. And the PE class that I'm taking, there's little to no written work. You just show up with your gear and you just play games, and somehow you get credits out of it. Lovely. Which is a really cool class, and it's just sort of my subject, where I can go in and just have fun and run around and get those nice chemicals flowing. Yeah.
And I've written a bit about like other things that we could talk about. It helps you find time to yourself.
Yes.
Because I feel like finding time to yourself, which we'll talk a bit more about later, is something that in this day and age tends to be sitting in your room on your phone or isolating yourself, when having time to yourself doesn't have to be that. It can be going for a walk, or it can be going to the gym, and like exercise tends to be a way to focus in on your body and like what your body is actually trying to say to you, which is quite cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. My dog Zephyr and I go for a walk after school every day, and exactly, just music in. And up where we live as well, it's a nice rural area, so the views are amazing. And if you time it right, just as the sun's going down, it's like, it's so good, so good. It's just that little time by myself to just also, it's just a walk too. It's not a run. It's nothing, hard out. Even though sometimes I do run just because, well, why not? It's just me and my thoughts, and just it's a nice way to sort of process the day as well, and like process what's going on and sort of what I have to do in the coming days or the week. Just like, okay, I've got to get this done, and then this I can sort of push away because it's due. Then it's not really important, even though I'd probably rather do the thing that's not really important. You need to, okay, this is my priority, and that I can sort of
and I think it's important to recognize like what you actually need in a moment. Like, it's all good to say I'm going to study for 5 hours a day, and then I'm going to go to the gym, and then I'm going to go on a walk, and I'm like going to do all the stuff, but that's not actually attainable in a day.
Definitely
with
not.
Waking hours, because you need to let yourself breathe, which we have found out is very important and can catch up to you if you don't take a break.
Yeah, guys.
Which I have found in the past few days.
Oh.
Another thing about exercise, going with other people for support and creating a support system. I mean, you said that you went on a walk with a few mates.
Yes. Yeah,
yesterday.
that was nice, just catching up and having the banter and taking the mickey out of people and all that just as you're going. And I mean, it's a good way to sort of just catch up with them, see how
Yeah.
life is going.
You have a group of people who are there to support you, man. I mean, you hear about like gym buddies and stuff, and people who go to the gym with you, people who go on walks with you, those sort of people. It's like a nice other way to create connections with people that's not just through social media.
Yeah.
Which social media is great, and it's a great way to stay in touch with people, but it's also good to try and find time to have human contact with people.
Yeah, definitely.
Another thing about it is it helps you stay strong and fit and healthy.
Which is all good things.
And yeah, that's a great thing. And of course, you need to be careful and you need to exercise in moderation. And you don't want to over-exercise, and you need to make sure you're fueling yourself according to how much exercise you're doing. But it is a great way to, build on yourself physically, which can often help you mentally as well.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Drink water, guys.
Yeah, drink water, eat well. But that's why I like dance and stuff, because as well as the actual art form being expressive, it's a great way to, stay fit.
Yeah, totally.
And I mean, doing a, high intensity 2 to 3 minute dance takes quite a lot out of you. So,
I'd imagine it would. Yeah.
That's quite good. Last topic we have is finding time to yourself. We mentioned it a bit earlier, but we're just sort of gonna feed on it a bit more.
Yep.
I've written walks here, music, video games.
Yeah. Just
hobbies that you like, if you want to talk a bit about
that. No, I've always been a bit of a gamer.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've sort of steered away from it in the last couple of months, just because of it's year 13, it's really busy, lots of schoolwork, and I don't find to really have time for it anymore, and I don't think it really sort of relaxes me, or it's as much of an escape as it used to be, just because I don't know, it just doesn't really do much for me. I suppose just sitting on my bed watching reels or playing the guitar it seems like more of a for me at the moment, which interests me. But if I'll have a friend that goes, hey, you haven't been here in a while, can we do something? It's like, yeah, sure, I'll dust off the laptop, But coming from like last year and the year before, pretty much jumping on like maybe half an hour after I get home from school, it's just like, it just doesn't really do it much for me anymore.
Which is fine, and the things that you enjoy are going to change as well. But on this topic, I've said, as much as we love spending time with people, finding time to ourselves is so important in giving us space to accept and reflect on how things are going and how we are feeling. Like, one thought that I have on that is I went to the gym yesterday and the day before, and I found that just like afterwards I was tired and I didn't feel good coming out of it, so I'm not going to go to today. And like listening to your body and having time to actually sit and think, like, it was a good workout, but I've actually left it feeling worse than I went into it, which is not how I want it to go. So taking a rest day, and I'm letting my body recover, because I haven't been to the gym in like 2 months. So just like listening to like what your body's saying to you is so important. And like, of course it's good to push past tough things, but it's important to recognize when you need to have a break and when you need to, push through. Yeah, totally. And recognizing that. Yeah. We talked about walks, we talked about music earlier, video games. I think, do you have any other sort of things that you want to add?
None really off the top of my head. We talked about some good stuff.
We have.
No, I don't have anything off the top of my head. Not much goes on up here.
Fair enough. Well, that's a good about 20-minute episode.
Okay.
So, thank you for listening to Tiny Talks. Remember, you are kind, you are beautiful, you got this, and I will see you next time. High five. Yeah.